That's right! For your enjoyment, I decided to voice act with absolutely no experience. And somehow I managed to get a part! Now, it's not a big part, but I know why you're actually here. You want to see how awkward it is for a newbie to voice act, so I guess I'll give you a little taste. Scene 1, take 1. Desperate man asks to subscribe. Please, 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 for the love. Pretty good, right? Now you might be wondering, why voice acting? Well, for starters, voice acting is one of those things that has always caught my interest. From people putting all their heart and soul into a scene, to replicating human emotion with different voice pitches and dialects. And it takes a deep understanding of that emotion to know what the identifiers are when someone is sarcastic, sad, angry, happy, and a completely different skill to actually manifest those thoughts into actual character and emotion. Because it's one thing to know how it goes, and another thing to actually do it. I really didn't think it'd be that hard, but there were times where I tried to sound angry, and I kind of sounded like a lunatic that was really happy. No, I will not be showing you any of those, because I'd rather soon kill myself than show you that. And if all this seems kind of obsessive, it is. I graduated with a bachelor in communication, so, you know, I kind of like these things a little bit. But as interested as I was, there was one issue. I was really, really scared. We'll go into that later, but for now, let's start with the start of it all, finding a place to audition. Now, I'm sure there's tons of websites or places to do this, but I only knew of one. CastingCall.club, a website that welcomes people of all skill levels. Whether you're a newbie or a pro, it's a place for you. I don't know why that sounds like an ad read. I'm not sponsored by them, but there you go. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know the history of it. I don't know if there's been any drama with this website, so before you use it, I would recommend doing some research behind it, because unfortunately, there is some sketchy stuff happening on here. But with that out of the way, although the website looks like it focuses on voice actors, there's actually positions for a lot more. Whether you're an artist, an animator, a video editor, and much more. You name it, it's there. But what makes it all work together is that people can create projects, whether it's a fan project, a paid project, doesn't matter. They'll post their project looking for talent, and this is where anyone can audition. And so from here, I created my account and started looking for projects to audition to. But before that, I set some boundaries for myself. You know, gotta respect yourself a little bit. So let's go over criteria. Criteria, or in other words, the standards, will play a big part when it comes to voice acting. Whether it's your own criteria or the criteria of the project, it's important to meet the expectations that are set for both. So let's dive a little deeper into each one. First, let's start off with personal criteria. This will vary from person to person. It's all based on you and what you value and appreciate, but you'll want to make sure you know what these are before you start looking for any projects. For example, for me, I had two main ones. My first one was I wanted it to be mostly family friendly, none of that adult themed stuff. And two, I wanted to make sure I didn't have to say any bad words, for I do not swear. I do not like using profanity, and I'm not comfortable with it. Once you have your criteria, you can begin to look around for projects that fit that. And if you found one, good job, that's awesome. Now, the next step is most important. If you do not want to be accused of being unable to read, go look at their criteria. It will usually be listed in the project overview, and it will typically range from things like age requirement, microphone quality, how many takes, what audition format, and what kind of file to submit, things like this. Now, if you're lucky, you might even find a project that doesn't need any prior experience or have any requirements. And that's exactly how I got my first project. But it's important to acknowledge when they have that and when they don't. So once I checked all these boxes off, it was then time to finally look at the characters or roles that were offered by the project that I wanted to audition to. And these you can find by just scrolling down a little further to see everything that's currently offered and open. And then you'll see, ooh, what's that? That's right, it's even more criteria. You should have known when the song didn't change. Once you find a role you like, you then should read what they're looking for in the voice. This is probably the most important part of voice acting. Here they'll tell you your character's personality, their tone, their traits, and sometimes even provide a reference sheet with the voice they have in mind. And right under that's where you get to the good stuff. These are your audition lines. This is where you'll put everything you read about your character into practice. They'll typically have the tone they want you to read it in, but if not, just give it your best interpretation based on the info that you have. Or you can even view other people's submissions if you need a little bit of inspiration. And once you recorded your audio using any app you want, you can feel free to upload your submission. And then you've officially done it. You have your submission on there for the whole world to see. Have fun sleeping with that thought in your head. And so I followed all these steps and began on my first ever recording. And the only way I have to describe that is with one word: painful. Alright chat, I have to admit, voice recording was so much harder than I thought it would be. I know this is gonna make me sound incredibly stupid, but I really thought it'd be as easy as just opening Premiere Pro and speaking my lines, with a couple retakes of course. And yeah, no, I was completely wrong. I remember when I finally built up the courage to finally speak into the mic, and it didn't sound like anything I thought it would. It was like in my head, it was so clear how I wanted it to come out, and then what actually came out was like, hey there. It was so bad! Not only that, but I'm dyslexic. I cannot read. So on top of the already really bad voice acting, I would also not get my lines right. Here's an example. This is so confusing. What does a spider eye have to do with any of this? Oh, frick, I said my line wrong. And because of this, it wasn't just a couple retakes. It was a lot. This is so confusing. 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 That was indeed very confusing. And the worst part is, that wasn't even all of them. That was just one line. One line. But as much as that sucked, it was still a lot of fun. And you know what? Doing this kind of thing eventually led me to getting the part. Not on this project, I never heard back from them. And so, let's move on to the project I actually got to work for. Now, before we get to the audition and any of that, I want to set some expectations. First of all, you should know, the part I got was not like any major part or any single part. It's the voice acting equivalent of being an extra on a set. So I was basically a part of a group. Maybe disappointing to some, but honestly, the fact that I got any part at all was really shocking to me. Second expectation you should know is this is like on a Minecraft Civ type video, which actually should be out by the time this video goes live. I don't watch Minecraft Civ type videos, I just thought it'd be a fun part to record. And it was! And so here's my complete unedited audition. It was recorded in AABBCC format, which is this format right here. So anyways, have fun with that. I'm gonna go bury my head in the dirt like an ostrich because I can't take this. I can't watch this. How much longer do we wait? How much longer do we wait? They sit on thrones while we bleed. They sit on thrones while we bleed. Tonight, we change everything! Tonight, we change everything! Painful! Very, very painful! But apparently not painful enough to not get the part! What? Look, if you're shocked that that got me a part somehow, I am too. That was terrible. In my opinion, that was horrible. In fact, this whole video was supposed to be completely different. Here's a recording of me the day I found out. All right, so I'm recording this while I'm still working on the video, but I got a part. I got a part in a dubbing of a Minecraft Civ type video. I'm just more shocked that I got any sort of part. It's probably not gonna be great on my part, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna do my part and do my best. But now I had a part and a role to fulfill and a deadline to meet. A day or two after being contacted, I was then given my lines, my official lines for this project. These were my roles right here that you can currently see. And now all I had to do was record my parts and submit them. And I had done it! My first ever actual role in anything. Now, for many reasons, I don't actually want to show any of it here, mostly to respect the actual project creators, but I'll have the timestamps in the description if you want to go look for my voice and see if you can hear it amongst the crowd. And if you don't believe I'm there, well, here I am in the credits. That's me! And you know what? After all of this, I gotta say, I'm really proud of myself. I know it's not big or it wasn't any amazing work that I was doing, but the purpose of this video was actually much deeper than just getting a part. I wanted to prove to myself that I could overcome one of my greatest fears that has always held me back. I've always hated people watching me do new things. I think I was always really afraid of being judged. And if I wasn't good at the thing they were looking at me doing, I didn't want to do it. And it's kept me from so many experiences that I've wanted to have in my life. Things as simple as going out with friends and trying something new like karaoke or a sport I'm not good at, and even things I've always wanted to try like voice acting today. It's always been a plague in my life, and honestly this has been, I think, the scariest video I've ever had to make. I don't know how many people will see this, and if you're here listening to this right now, thank you. This was really, really hard, and I'm just happy that you stuck all the way through. Seriously, thank you for your time. And to my girlfriend, who I know watches all of these all the way through, thank you too for being so supportive of all that I do. So if there's anyone out there that's like me, that's always been afraid to try new things, give it a shot. It's gonna be scary, and it will be hard. But once you get over that little hurdle, you'll notice that you'll be okay. And so before I head off, if that is you, I'm gonna link a video down below. It's actually by the GOAT MatPat. Yes, MatPat Game Theory, where he talks about the concept of yes and this video really inspired me a lot to get out of my comfort zone and just go for it. So if you want to see him join a professional golf tournament with absolutely no experience, it'll be down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!